Yo, what is going on? My name is Matthew, and this is another life update from my life. And I don't know the direction. I always have some random thoughts on my brain that I noted down. But, I don't know. Life is an interesting one, I feel you can feel so motivated for a couple weeks, and then suddenly you crash, you burn, and you have to build back up again. For instance, last week, I had this assignment due that was pretty major, and it was one of those things where I wake up on Monday, first thing I do is work on the assignment, go to class, have free time, work on the assignment. Tuesday comes, work on the assignment. Like every waking hour and brain power was spent doing this assignment. And for good reason. It was a very difficult assignment. Of course, maybe in hindsight, it's wiser to start a bit earlier. But that just took so much mental capacity and basically completely derailed my week's plans and schedule because of this priority. And I had to take time to do this. And I think it's good to be flexible, to be able to adapt to pressing requirements and stuff. But the level of which it just killed me was insane. I'd be falling asleep and just seeing the math whiz by. I would wake up in the morning and the very first thing that would be on my mind is some math proof that I couldn't solve from the night before. And when I think about it, maybe that's a bit too much of dedication or whatever towards one assignment. But if you reach those levels, and it was like that for 3-4 days, I wasn't getting good sleep, whatever. Felt like I got derailed, and I kind of even contradicted a little bit about some of my own beliefs and how I should think about my master's marks not in the I don't need to get the best grades, but then there's another sentiment of, well, I want to try to understand everything to the best of my ability. And so I always want to give my best effort as well. But I guess I wasn't contradicting myself, because previously I basically said it's okay to step away from the math questions if it takes you 7-8 hours to complete. But none of these questions took that long. There's just a lot of them, so I underestimated that. So I guess I haven't been contradicting myself. But all this to say, that was probably super confusing. All this to say is that last week just was a weird time. It's just like a wrench gets thrown into the mixture of your own goals in life, and then suddenly you just have to, you peter out a little bit as well. I was sick as well. I was dealing with sickness. I couldn't sleep well. As a result, I couldn't really do any of my exercising that was keeping me going. So everything kind of broke down. And to come on the other side of that, I felt very unmotivated. I often feel unmotivated. I feel this sense of existential dread of it's crazy. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I always think like 80 years into the future when I'm like on my deathbed constantly. And it's probably not necessarily a healthy thing to think about, but I think that fluctuates me. As a result, this is a very interesting case. I fluctuate between immense motivation and drivenness to accomplish everything that I set out to do, and I guess I'll put that up there. And this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The opposite of like optimism, or like optimism? What? Nihilism. I was thinking like some nihilistic view in the world. Like, as a result of this idea of knowing that your demise is in the future, kind of grants that thought process. And when you're feeling good and you're getting sleep and you're eating well and things are going your way, I find that having that in the back of your brain, your demise, as I call it, it just boosts me and motivates me. But I tell you, when I'm reached this point of like, after grinding the assignment for an entire week, yeah, I reach the point of like, why am I doing this? You know, I'm going to die one day. It doesn't matter what I do right now, because extrapolate further into the future, like, we all meet the same fate. And I and that sounds incredibly depressing, and I think it is, but I think it's also just important to acknowledge that those states are very temporary, because your brain just churns through emotions naturally. Like, if you are super stressed, working hard, and like you can't get enough sleep or rest, of course you're going to have a lot more dreadful thoughts. But then when you get back into the routine a little bit and things start falling back into place, as it has this week, I can feel the motivation start to pick back up, and it actually feels like I come back stronger, because having this moment of depressing, unmotivated, like moment, I've talked about this with my friends and stuff. It almost feels necessary in order to reevaluate how you approach your life when you're kind of fully on. Because I find for me, when I have this master plan of everything I want to do, and I have it all scheduled in, and my goals and whatever, I don't often, it's not natural, it doesn't come as natural to pause and reflect of like the directions of and why I'm necessarily doing things. And maybe this is too vague, but hopefully you can relate to this. But I guess what I have in my mind is just like the goals of my life, because I acknowledge that my master's is not forever, it's temporary, so I obviously want to ponder different ideas of where my future lies, and where I can maybe spend more time to help make those futures come true in my free time. And I think the most the easiest example is when I first moved cities, it kind of completely reset my brain. I was forced into completely new habits and routines, and they weren't even necessarily habits or routines yet, but meaning like I didn't actually bring with me my past habits or past routines because I'm in a new place. So you can't actually have those. So in a new environment, you start to develop new ones. And because you have a blank slate, it's a great opportunity to start thinking about what you want to actually accomplish. However, long story short, first guy here, the main goal was just to figure out school, meet some people, get some friends. It wasn't necessarily about my own personal ambition. Winter break comes around, I come back from that break, maybe feeling a bit burnt out, whatever. Now I come back even stronger. That's when I wanted to start my workout routines, where it's pretty aggressive what I'm doing. It was I was doing about 2 physical activities a day with some rest baked in the weekend and stuff. It was either working out, swimming, or running. And I knew in order to get that done, because I had this moment of reflection during the winter break, I knew when I came back, I was like, okay, how do I make this happen? I need to do some meal prep and stuff because I don't have time between classes. So then I started doing that. And I was able to commit to that, and that's great. And then this past period, get sick, had my assignment, extra burned out. I end up stopping the routine that I've been baked into for 2 months, or maybe a month actually at this point, month and a bit. And then that lets me reevaluate kind of how my routine was. Lets me pause and kind of focus in on, is there anything I want to modify? Is there anything I want to add? Because, I mean, I don't know, it sounds just crazy, but that's just the level of, I don't know, it just makes you pause and ponder. I figured out that because I'm got used to doing some of that stuff, it frees up some mental capacity to focus on other stuff now. And I want to start focusing on finally starting a mini business. I've been saying I've been wanting to do that for a very, 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 very long time. But time just goes, and it's frightening. You have this goal in mind, you wake up 5 years later, have you worked on your goal yet? No. So, I understand that to get goals done, it takes actually micro lifts. People often think that in order to accomplish something good, you have to I don't know, finish it then and there, spend 8 hours on it, and I don't know, and get it done. But in actuality, if you're consistent for a long enough duration with very little effort, you can also complete the same thing. Meaning, if I work on some business idea for 9 hours a week, if I can get 3 hours split up around 3 different evenings, 9 hours a week, then after about 100 days, I guess it's not necessarily 100 days, but I guess it would be not 100 days. Geez, what am I thinking? 10 weeks, 11 weeks. If you go through 11 weeks with 9 hours, that's about 100 hours, which will probably generate some really cool results in form of a project or a business. And I know that. And I've been thinking about that concept for a very long time. I've applied it in various different ways in my life. But I feel like it's finally time to start to work on that, because I feel established where I am. I feel good about my classes. I feel good about my systems that are in place. And I am able to sleep well, eat healthy, and what's just left, I feel, is to commit time to that part of my life that I feel I've been longing for. And I'm not trying to make something crazy, but I'm not trying to make something crazy, like innovate. Innovate. I don't know what the word. I feel like there's this connotation with start a business. It's this some massive master plan. When and you have to get startup funding or all this XYZ. But the way I have it in my brain is if you have an idea, you can, especially if you know how to program and stuff, which I do, you can create just a minimal viable product with basically free, because it's just your time, and then try it out. And I have this thesis where if it's a value creating product and people actually want it, then it'll be successful. I feel like I have this perception where people so often create products that they only want, or no, they create something and force the demand onto it, then creating something that already has demand for. And I know there's an analogy where it's or there's a marketing, I don't know what you call it, saying where it's they don't have it yet. The consumers don't want that. Well, they don't have it yet. They don't want it yet. And I think that's a very true thing, where you're able to sell something to consumers where they don't have it yet. However, I think that's an uphill battle, and I think the easier route is just to produce something that creates value, that you undoubtedly want, that you and your friends undoubtedly want, that you and your friends and strangers want to use or to have, instead of just creating garbage. I think creating garbage is a phenomenal way to act like you're trying to start a business, but you're not actually giving it your best shot. You're taking the easy way out. Because I feel like there's a lot of garbage that you can create that can be successful given enough time and effort. But then, for one, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're not actually actualizing any skill or development ideas from that. And two, you're not going to create a long-lasting value proposition for individuals. You're just creating some short-term thing that people will probably drop after they've I don't know, or it's too niche. I don't know why I feel qualified in saying that stuff, but even though I haven't started anything, well, I have started multiple projects, and I had my own lawn mowing company that was minimally lived and whatnot, but I've developed this idea in my head about starting a business, and based off of what I've been hearing, the different like entrepreneurship things and books I've read, and just kind of collecting my own opinion on the matter. And in order to do that, I also just straight up asked myself, like, why am I personally selective over which companies or products that I use? And to me, it came down to just basically like, if I've established that I don't get any value in it, then I'm not going to use it. If there's something that's actually valuable, then I will use it. I think a phenomenal learning opportunity that I had was I created I created this YouTube channel, which I won't name. Maybe one day I will. I created this YouTube channel where I made automated videos. And that sounds like a thing that is common nowadays, or you've probably heard of that, but I'm going to make my hipster claim and say I was doing it before it was truly a thing. I was doing it before AI could help out with any of these products. I developed my own software to concatenate, make some compilations or whatever automatically. So I was kind of ahead of this game a little bit. And I ended up getting like 3-4 million views total on my channel. Before I got like 2 copyright strikes, I've been trying to, and then I stopped like uploading until those went away. I was trying to really figure out how to monetize this stuff. And because I could have made some really big money, and there could still be some ways to do that using like some affiliate links or whatever, and I've thought long and hard about it. But there's that way to play things, but then there's also another way to play things where I could just play by the rules. I mean, reading YouTube's policies and whatever, in order to not get copyrighted and monetize the channel. Oh, I should state that YouTube doesn't like to monetize compilation channels, understandably. It's just you're not doing anything interesting with it, And I think that's a fair thing to have on your platform. You don't want to get flooded with people just making all this stuff, especially if you can make money on it. And so I could have taken... There's 2 approaches I could have done. And I did neither of them. I ended up just stopping the channel. But we'll see. Maybe I'll start something back up, because that could be an easy way to make money. Because I already have my software that can automate videos and whatnot. So I have to dust it off, my shitty spaghetti code. But there's 2 things I could have done with it. I could have kept pushing to try to circumvent the rules in order to try to just make a little bit of money. And it was probably not even going to be that much money because of how much I had to circumvent the rules. I can only sell like maybe 1 product. I was actually thinking about like using this platform as a redirection pipeline to a more general website and then monetizing the website. That could be a good idea. That's a lot of work to kind of go against the pipeline, or to go against the pipeline, to go against like the policies. Or I could have went with the policies and did some video modification, maybe did a voiceover, done a silly React channel or something, or just figured out more of a creative way to actually make videos automatically, for instance. I did neither, but what I learned from that is it's almost easier just to go with the grain, And something else that I learned is I felt like kind of a waste producing content just to waste people's time. And I realized that I don't believe in doing that stuff. And if I don't believe in it, then I'm not going to do it. or do it well. Like I had a crazy metric of like wasting thousands and thousands, and I wasted like, I don't know, I'm probably making it up right now because I don't have the analytics in front of me. It was like 100 or 1,000 years of human, it's probably 10,000 years, I don't know. My watch time was crazy, and I remember calculating it out of how many years of human existence I wasted on just watching silly videos that I produced. And it was some astronomical number, and I kind of laughed about it. It's like, holy moly, like I'm wasting that much time. And then as I developed through this, I kind of realized, man, I don't feel good about wasting people's time like this because I don't stand for this. I want to actually provide value to an individual instead of just making like crappy videos and wasting people's time and energy. And so I started to think about maybe valuable content that I could automate. But then I kind of just fell off the automation idea because in order to produce something so valuable through automation, I feel is just so difficult and challenging that I kind of just stopped with the idea. But from that experiment at time, I learned the value of I don't know, the value of just sticking to your morals, and that if you produce something valuable, they will come. But then I guess I also learned if you produce something very terrible, they will also come. But then I learned that if you produce something terrible and if they come, then you'll feel bad about yourself, and you don't want to do that. You'll feel bad if you're like ideally a decent person. Hopefully I am. I think I am. But so I have this like deep conviction that when it comes to starting a business, that again, you have this value proposition that no one can turn down, doing something that everyone wants, and you are not skimping out on the customer. You're not doing everything just to churn a profit. And that's the philosophy I'm going to take into doing this, and I think I am going to do it finally. And I'm not just saying that lightly. I truly am going to do it. I've been on this really good roll of adding various components to my schedule, and I know that sounds so rigid, but that's just how I speak. Like, I've been very happy with the progression I've made in doing all these things, and I still take time for my relationships and family because I think that is super important. Because at the end of the day, if you fall down, who is going to be there for you? Your relationships, those are very important. And you shouldn't even just do it for the sake of having a support structure. Like hanging out with them and having relationships. If you're someone that's like so deep into the like optimize your life thing, you should just have them because it's life. Like, it's fun to laugh. It's fun to joke around. It's fun to do it. And actually, that's just life. There's these... I'll probably talk about this again in another video, but I've developed this idea of like... talking with my friend about this. There's this idea of, I don't know why I call it like maybe Gogginism. David Goggins, how he states to kind of like push hard to be something, like keep going, grind out. And there's also Cameron Haynes is another good one. Like keep hammering, don't stop, keep hammering. And like those are very, on one hand, very admirable qualities because you're kind of showing that no matter what, you're going to keep pushing through what life throws at you. Keep churning out the butter. I don't know why that's a saying, but it is. Keep churning out the butter and just keep going. But I think there's what those ideologies fail to acknowledge is that, and this is something I need to often reflect on as well, which is why I thankfully have a wonderful girlfriend who is more like this, is that you can stop and smell the roses. That is equally an important part of life, because, like I was saying earlier in this video, you are going to die one day. You're going to wish you smelled more roses. You're going to wish that you fished more with your uncle. You're going to wish that you laughed more and took the time to talk to all these people, because fundamentally that is what makes life life. It's relationships. And if you're not actively engaging in them in a present manner, and if you're not actively just engaging in a relationship with yourself, appreciating yourself, walking around, seeing nature, maybe your relationship with nature as well, if you're not appreciating that, like, these are all fundamental aspects of life. And that's on like the other hand, opposed to like the Gauguinism world, And I'm sure he has a relationship and stuff, and that's well. But I think there's like this fine balance of like pushing yourself to an unbelievable extent, and also acknowledging that there's this idea of slowing down and appreciating what you have and the relationships that you have and existing in them, and just being content with the sunny day and doing that and just appreciating the sun, like sunbathing for the day, and that's it, and not worrying about optimizing your world. And I'm happy I actually was thinking about this, because I think I have to become more cognizant as I approach this like busy schedule. Maybe I can get into what my schedule is like one day, but this busy schedule ahead of me, trying to like do all these things. Got my master's, want to do my business a little bit, and then maintain relationships. And embedded in the master's is like all my courses, academic reading, literature reviews, and it's a big list. And I think I have to be mindful that in this, maybe I'm thinking about like in this 5-day period, I can go hard, and then in the 2-day weekend, really take a break and enjoy life more. And that could be a good balance to have. And I think I've been trying to do that really well, to the best of my abilities, in doing some evening meditations before bed, just slowing down and being content, and being okay with it. But I guess to loop back around, I find just so often in online content, we are met with those ideologies of grinding and pushing till you're on the brink of destruction of your own body, and going through that even, and keep hammering, keep doing. But I find that no one talks about the, I guess, softer end of that, where you actually take a break. You actually listen to your body. You actually go outside, lay in the grass, and do nothing. Why isn't that talked about? And I think it's not talked about because it doesn't captivate the brain as much. Like, we associate doing nothing with not achieving your goals, and so often in our society, at least in North America, we talk about achieving your goals in terms of like business success and whatever, and then we know that and like school, and we know if we don't get good grades and business success, if we don't keep hammering and getting all physical fitness, then we're going to be nothing in the rest of our lives. You know, that's real. That's a real thing that everyone lives like. And it's not catchy to say, if you do nothing and you just appreciate the nature, man, and the sun and your relationships, you're going to be so happy and super successful in your life as well. That is not catchy. And I think that's, in confines of social media, is not a catchy thing to say. I think people long for it, but I think it's just not there. And because, we are whatever the algorithm feeds to us, which is unfortunate. I heard that a good thing I was listening to the Daily in New York. No, that's not the Daily. There's a tech one about Spotify. And a journalist said that something really good about how Spotify started out as a company where you would choose your music, and now it has become a company similar to TikTok where they serve you music. They want to eliminate the choice. So effectively, when we eliminate the choice, we are becoming whatever the algorithm is to us. That's what TikTok is, that's what Instagram is, and that's a whole nother video. Which is why I don't use those platforms, because I think they just create such a narrow vision of what the world is and how to live it. But if it was going to be anything today that I would recommend for you to do, is to actually try to cut back a bit and do something different out of your routine, such as appreciating maybe a good book, a candle, some tea. Think about what you actually like and your favorites are in life. That actually was a big struggle of mine, is growing up. I've never even, I know it sounds super trivial, but growing up, this is, I guess, put into perspective of who I am as a person. Like, growing up, I wouldn't have favorites of stuff. I think I just wouldn't spend the time to think about what I really liked as a favorite thing. It's kind of bizarre, but maybe there's someone else out there that is similar to that. But recently, I've been trying to actually be more mindful. I've informed my own opinion of what I actually like. I learned that I love peanut butter. Peanut butter is awesome. And I learned that I love pirates and Pirates of the Caribbean. That shit is awesome too. And it's fun. I'm learning to actually like and appreciate things. And I think that just sounds so crazy. But maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm just doing personal reflection at this point. I started in the Gauguinism era, and I'm trying to find my middle. I would say my girlfriend has started in the I don't know what we called this one. Maybe the happy garden sunshine era. and I think it's wise to find a balance in the middle, because if you have some of the Gauguinism, you can actually become who you want to in life, and it really do make your dreams become reality. I truly believe that. But then, if you have that without any of the garden of sunshine, it's an unsustainable endeavor. You're going to blow a tire. You're probably going to be unhappy and not understanding why you are. It's probably because your life is unbalanced. So you do need that. And then if you only had this idea where you lived only for the sunshine and garden, you'll probably be quite happy in life. And I do agree with that. However, Will your potential ever be fully realized? Probably not. And maybe you're okay with that, but I, for one, am always, because I know I'm going to die one day, I kind of think about what my deathbed self would think, and probably wouldn't necessarily be totally thrilled if I didn't actually try to maybe achieve what I was destined to achieve in this world. But I think they would be pretty happy with just like, yeah, you slayed doing all your relationships and whatever, and just enjoying what life had to offer. But then I feel like you never got, if you live too much in here, you don't really get to learn the dark side of you, of when like you're pushing yourself to the limit, you know? I feel like that's an equal as important part of you to learn as the like more softer side, you know? There's a balance in the world. That's something I've been learning. There's a balance to everything. There's a balance to everything. So often we talk about black and white scenarios, but it's just a balance. Like, that's what social media has come. I think that's what is a detrimental aspect of social media, is how black and white it is. It basically, you either super hard, you go tough, or you're nothing, or you're like, that's it, because that's the mold of an account that you're forming. You're either an artist and you're nothing more, because that's the mold of the account that you're forming, like maybe for influencers and stuff. Like, I find it like there's no just people influencers, because people have multiple interests, but usually for an influencer you have like one specialty, or you just maybe do nothing and post pictures. But as a result, you serve just content of people that are really good at one thing. Oh, I could say a lot. Serves they're really good at one thing, and then like for instance, if Bob had an account, he's really good at golf. Cool, you get that served to you. You're like, wow, so many people are good at golf because you see Bob, he's a god at golf. I'm not good at golf. And you have Stacy, who's like some supermodel or whatever. He's like, wow, everybody's super good looking. I'm not that good looking. And then you have like Fred, who's an artist, who's super good at art. And you start to like have this mental model of like, you have to be super good looking, you have to be super good at art, you have to be super good at, well, I don't know what I said, maybe music, I can't remember, but to be super good at all these things or you're nothing. But there's no like buddy that gets promoted on social media that's just like adequate at a good number of them. Like, that's not something interesting to showcase. And I think that comes in relation to the mood thing that I was telling you about, like the GOG. Like, there's probably people out there that are like, you have to go super hard, or there's people out there that are like, oh, just relax and vibe, enjoy. But like, where's the like ones that are in the middle? Maybe they're out there, but I think they're a lot more rare, because people also tend to pick a side that they associate with more, and they fail to realize that they can be a part of both sides. Sheesh, I don't know what this turned into, but school's going well. I had that debacle with my assignment, but I got that underway. Life is good. I'm feeling pretty charged up for the new this new term that I'm in. A lot of good things underway. Gonna learn a lot. I'm excited to see where my potential can take me. I've gained an abundance of skills. I've gained an abundance of skills in forms of understanding how MRI works, like the physics and the imaging. I've gained a lot of knowledge so far in the field of optimization, which I know is an incredibly important thing to learn because almost everything in our world requires some sort of, almost every problem in our world requires some sort of optimization between different constraints and stuff. And I've been also learning a lot about deep learning, which is a timely subject to understand. And it's been really cool, just also like getting like live discussions with the prof about when DeepSeek was released to the public, and like interpreting it or understanding it from like a professor's point of view, like the implications. And I think it's just, I don't know, I've been really enjoying it, and I feel very grateful and blessed to be in this situation that I am in. I do not take it for granted. But yeah, I'm definitely have been rising back up from a low from finishing that assignment and being sick, but I've been feeling good. I'm on the up and up. I'm on the mend, and I'm ready to kick some butt. Oh, that's another thing. I was dealing with a knee injury as well, so I couldn't be running lately. I knew I had to listen to my body and take some time. So that was why I think I was a bit kerfuffled as well. But that has really been an update from the grad journey and kind of some thoughts on life. I don't exactly know how all of that came up, but it did. Obviously, I've thought about it. And yeah, life is good. I hope life is good for everyone who listens to this, and I hope life is good for you, future Matthew. I hope that it worked out well, all the work that you've contributed and put towards. But I should wrap up this video because it's 47 minutes long, and I don't know. I'm running out of things to say. But yeah, I really wish you the best, everyone that listens to this. I think you should cut yourself some slack, and I think you should congratulate yourself on how far you've come. People always tend to compare themselves to other people. I say to compare yourself from a previous time horizon. For instance, compare yourself from 5 years ago. And maybe you've fallen down from where you were 5 years ago, then compare yourself from where you were from yesterday. You may have to do that. But I'm just saying, think about how far you've come. Think about what you've learned. Think about everything that you've achieved so far. And if you feel like it's not anything, you've probably gained lots of life experience that nobody has too. You have to consider that as being something valuable. But I really wish you all the best in this world. It's very busy and can be cruel, but the only thing we can do is really just try to keep our head up, enjoy the sunshine when it comes, and keep grinding and laugh. It's important to laugh. Try to find some time to laugh. But I've been Matthew. This is my third update in my YouTube grad vlog, life blog, frog. And I'll see you next time.